Hello everybody, Mr. West here at Timbermore High School. This is our weekly student assembly and parents engagement presentation. So you get to know everything that's going on at the school and over the last 7 days, and then hopefully what will come in the next 7 days. So I'm going to go through obviously our usual bits and pieces of the week and talk about what's likely to come, and hopefully you'll find it informative as usual. So thank you for joining me. I do appreciate you tuning in every week, and hopefully you find it useful. First thing I'm going to talk to you about is this ever-changing guidance from the Department of Education. Now, I'm just going to explain the way I see it and how it will affect the school, and then obviously students can kind of work out how that will affect them in the coming weeks and into September, and parents, obviously, you can do exactly the same. The first thing I'm going to talk to you about is the additional £1 billion that was announced at midnight last night. So, as you can imagine, lots of school leaders currently are getting lots of sleep. So there's £1 billion announced in the media that will come to schools to help with one-to-one tutoring for children in schools to help catch up. Now that money is very welcome, obviously, and we will do our very best to make sure that is managed well and is placed with children who have had the most need. But what I will have to say is that once you break that £1 billion down, which sounds like a tremendous amount of money, and it is a lot of money in its totality, you break it down into school figures and what each child will get. You may have read yourself in the media that we're talking about maybe £80 per student, and half of that will go to a tutoring company. So that leaves £40 per child, which is I'm very grateful for. But then out of that money, if you're talking about a tutoring session being £24 per hour, you can work out there that there isn't going to be a lot to go around. So I think if you're a concerned parent, I know a lot of you are, and you get in touch with me, and I do appreciate your communications, and you are concerned about your child and how they're going to catch up in terms of the GCSEs and where they're going to get to, or how they're going to get to the end of year 7 to prepare them for when they get older, this money is not going to be enough, and it's not going to solve all the problems, but it is welcome. So we'll have to be creative in school about what we do, and one of the ways we've been creative is conversations that I'm having with leaders across the school, both at subject level and at senior level, about how we adapt our curriculum, as I've said to you before, about the experiences you have in the classroom, how we adapt that to make sure that we can meet the needs, because they're all going to be different. Some children will have engaged with remote learning very well and found it easy, and they can just get on with it themselves. Some will find it more difficult and challenging, and some haven't done anything at all, okay, which I'll come on to shortly. So this money is very welcome, but just to kind of point it out there, be mindful, this money is not going to solve the problem in the future. So that's the first thing. The second thing I'm going to talk to you about is free school meals. If you're a family and you're entitled to that, obviously, that's fantastic news, but you're going to get some additional funding and support over the summer months, and rightly so. But if you are not sure if you're eligible for it, or you think you might be, and you haven't applied in the past, I would strongly urge you as a family to make that application. So get in touch with us at the school and find out how you can do that, and hopefully you can get hold of that money. £15 a week that you'll get for food. I know it's not a lot of money, but it's £15 better than zero. So if you can do that, that's going to help out families at home. Next point I'm going to talk to you about is results day. So I'm talking to year 11 here and year 13s. At this point in time, and again, all of these things are subject to change. At this point in time, there will not be a physical results day in school as we traditionally have on those 2 days in August, where you come in, you get results, you open the envelope, you get results, you cry with joy, and then you start thinking about your next steps. Okay, that's not going to happen this year. It is at this point going to be done remotely, for all the reasons that we know, and I don't need to go into details about where we are in terms of social distancing. So you'll be contacted via email with your results. We haven't got the details on this yet, but that's what we're planning on doing. And then any kind of support that you need around next steps, college, apprenticeships, coming here to sixth form or another sixth form provision, or those that are going on to university or employment, we will offer that support to you as normal, but that will be done virtually or remotely. So we're pulling together details around that, and we'll get that communication to you, and you can obviously ask the questions around that, and we'll welcome your feedback to make sure that you are fully supported when you get results in the summer, but it will be done remotely, just so you're clear at this point. Next thing I'm going to talk to you about is remote learning. Okay, so we talked a lot over the last few weeks and months now about engaging with the remote learning that staff are providing for you. And I know we've had teething problems and there's been a bit of coming backwards and forwards and there's been issues over feedback. And we're all trying to evolve together in this new way of working. But what I'm going to point out to you is that there's been some figures published this week around the proportion of children that are engaging with remote learning, and it's somewhere around 40%. And I think the schools, I mean, it's slightly better for the school, but it's around that figure, which means that somewhere in the region of 60% of children are not fully engaged with it. Now, that's not the same as logging on. Okay, if I look at the log on figures for this school, they're very high, and in particular in year 9. Indeed, year 9, you need congratulations because you are the top of the charts, really. You are the ones that are engaged with the learning the most, signing on and actually getting the work done, and you've got the highest submission rates. So well done to year 9s, okay? But other year groups, you need to match them, if not beat them. And so the issue is you're logging on, okay, and people are not submitting work or not completing work at all. And I know some of you will come back and say, well, we find it too difficult because you haven't got the instructions, or we need teachers to give us more instructions, more feedback, or whatever it might well be. But a great number of you are not engaging with it, and I understand the reasons why, and I've talked to you about that previously, that we're sympathetic to that because we are in a pandemic and it's very difficult, etc. However, and here's something to think about, and this is for all year groups, but in particular year 9 and year 10s. In the school, we've just completed what's called a centre assessed grade process, where for years 11s and 13s we've had to gather together evidence, a portfolio of evidence to support teachers kind of constructing a assessment for you and then putting that exam grade in a rank order to the exam boards. And that work's been going on for several months now, okay, because they cancelled examinations. Next year, if we're in the same situation again and year 9s and 10s haven't completed work, it's going to be very difficult for the teachers in school, my staff, to pull together the evidence to then come up with a summary of the totality of your learning and go, right, that child would have got this in examinations. So that's why it's so important to help us out with remote learning at this point in time, because that work will help my staff come up with a grade that you will likely get and be passed on to the exam grades next summer and the summer after. Okay? So that's why you need to engage with learning now. All right? So if you find it difficult, speak to your tutor, because they are making phone calls on a regular basis, and tell them your problems, or get in touch with the school via Miss Britton or your pastoral leader and talk to them about the problems you're having with engaging online. And I know there's some issues, okay, and we'll do all we can to fix that, even if it means providing physical work packages for you. But we need that evidence, otherwise what's going to happen is when we come to doing the grades next year, there is so little information there that we actually can't give you the grade that you deserve. So think about that carefully. You've got a lot more power and control than you realise, even if you are sitting at home. The next thing I want to say is this. This is about the future around 11s and 13s this year, and then obviously 10s going into next year and 12s into next year when you get your centre assessed grade from the school. Now, there's been a lot in the press this week around the fact that teachers have predicted or overestimated grades, and they're saying that there's some kind of national scandal that's almost a grade higher than normal. Right. Just so you're absolutely clear about how the exam boards do this, right? Because I don't know if this is common knowledge. When a child sits an examination, okay, they don't get the grade that they would ordinarily have got for that paper that they've sat. What happens is that the exam boards standardise all grades across the country. So ordinarily, even when there isn't a pandemic, they bring grades down right across the board, and exam boards do that, okay? So they would normally bring grades down to fit their normal distribution curve, okay? Without getting too technical. And they'll do the same this year. So from my perspective, nothing's really changed. Teachers in this school have apportioned grades based on the work that children have done, and I'm very confident we've been absolutely fair to every child in this school to make sure they get the best opportunities. Okay, so that's just something to bear in mind in the future. The school doesn't inflate grades or twist figures because they're always standardised by the exam boards. So let's see what the exam boards do this summer. Okay, so there's that bit there, and let's just have a look if there's anything else I need to mention to you. Well, what I need to mention is how fantastic it's been to this week in terms of having year 10s and 12s in, because the school is now slowly re-emerging from its slumber. It has been wonderful to speak to some of the year 10s and 12s, and I've spoken to them as the weeks progressed, and generally they look very positive. Given the fact that we've all been through this difficult period, they've come in buoyant, energised, and really appreciate the time that they've had in the school, and we look forward to them working towards the 29th of June, where they can come in and do a bit more work, and they can spend a bit more time with each other in groups of about 10, I think, as that's our plan at the current point in time. But what's really important is that if you're given an appointment slot, to confirm that either with Miss Britton if you're in year 10 or in sixth form, make sure you contact the sixth form team to confirm you are definitely coming or you're definitely not coming. And that way we can make sure that we cater and we fill the school up accordingly, and we're all safe and we know where people are. Okay, it's been a really, really positive week this week for you to come into school, and just to kind of reassure that we're really looking forward to coming back in next week, and those that haven't come in yet, and also say the week after. It makes all the difference, and I have to say attendance has been fantastic. All those children all those students that have been due to come in this week, have pretty much all of them have turned up, and they've had the slot with a tutor or spoken to another member of staff, and it has really changed the atmosphere and the culture of the school in the last few days, and we're really looking forward to that changing further. So where's that leave us with year 7s and 9s? I had a couple of contacts from parents this week asking us about whether 7s to 9s, 7, 8 or 9 will be coming to school, and I went back to them and said, it's not actually my decision. Despite being in charge of school, I don't have that authority. It's down to the government and their 25% restriction on the number of children that can be in school at any one time. They changed the guidance slightly this week, as soon as you'll note, but it doesn't give me much wriggle room at all, to be honest. So hopefully they'll change the rulings on the 2 metres to 1 metre, that would give us a bit more space. And we are looking in the background about how we can get more year 7s, 8s and 9s in before the end of this term. But at this point in time, the government just won't let me do it. As despite them saying we can bring in other year groups, they haven't given me the space to do it. So let's hope, fingers crossed, they change the rules on that. And if they do, I can assure you 7s, 8s and 9s, we're going to get you in it for at least one session before the summer, and that way you'll have a sense of what to do over the summer, and we can build on that work we talked about earlier in terms of engagement with that remote learning. Okay, right, that's a lot to get through this week, and I'm sure that you've got lots of questions, and that's giving you lots to think about. And obviously I welcome your feedback. If you've got any strong opinions, please speak to staff in school. Please speak to your tutors, and make sure if you've got any concerns at home, you pass those on, and we'll do what we can to fix those. Okay, so in the meantime, I'll wish you all well, and I'll look forward to speaking to you again this time next week. All the best. Bye bye for now.